This sankhara is one of 2 links of these 12 links of dependent origination, which is hard to understand. And many monks interpret it in the standard way that has been explained in the commentaries, in the Abhidhamma, in the traditional teaching of Theravada. And unfortunately, I don't agree wholesale with it. This word sankhara, you can translate it generally as intention or volition. Because, like for example, in the 5 khandhas, the 5 aggregates of attachment, you also have sankhara there. And sankhara there means volition or intention. Now, intention or volition in the Buddha's teachings is connected with karma, action or intentional action. The Buddha says cetana. Cetana is karma. Cetana is intention or you can say volition, you can say purposely doing something with a purpose. So this word cetana is karma. Now this word sankhara is quite close to it. It is generally translated as intention or volition. Now, because there's a lot of confusion over this word, the general traditional interpretation, translation of this word sankhara is formations. Sometimes they call it mental formations, sometimes they call it volitional formations. This word has been translated in various ways, but I believe the latest translation by Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, who is a very much respected translator of the suttas, he translates it as volitional formations. So he recognizes that this word sankhara has much to do with volition or intention. Now the traditional interpretation of this word sankhara is karma. Karma, the working of karma. In other words, intentional action through the body, intentional action through speech, and intentional action through the mind. So my interpretation of this word sankhara is intention, but directed slightly not general karma, but intention to do with the will to live. To do with the will to live. Now, the sankhara, this word, is defined in the suttas as 3 types of sankhara. Kaya sankhara, which is bodily intention, and vachi sankhara, which is verbal intention, and chitta sankhara, which is mental intention. So this is the 3 sets of sankhara found in dependent origination. When we study the suttas in the Nikayas and we compare with other suttas, we find that there actually appears 2 sets of sankharas in the suttas, in the Nikayas. The other set of sankhara found in the suttas is almost the same, except the last part. It is also kaya sankhara, which is bodily intention or volition. Vachi sankhara, which is verbal intention. These 2 are the same. But the third one, instead of chitta sankhara, the third one is mano sankhara. Mano sankhara. Mano has got to do with thinking. So this set, this second set of sankharas in the suttas, when we look through the suttas, we find it has always got to do with the creating of karma, general creation of karma. Let me see. For example, in the suttas, the Buddha says, in Sangyutta Nikaya 12.25, the Buddha said, with ignorance as condition, either by oneself, ananda, one wills bodily intentions, kaya sankarang abhisankaroti, following which arises internally pleasure and pain, or because of others, one wills bodily intentions, following which arises internally pleasure and pain, and similarly with the verbal and mental intentions. So here, when it concerns the second set of sankharas, you see very clearly that that person wills bodily, verbal and mental intentions which gives rise to pleasure and pain. In other words, it is general karma, general intentional action. Also in Majjhima Nikaya 57, the Buddha said, and what punya is dark action with dark result. Here someone generates an afflictive bodily sankhara, an afflictive verbal sankhara, an afflictive mental sankhara. So here also refers to the second set of sankharas, in other words, kaya sankhara, vachi sankhara and mano sankhara. But when we refer to the first set of sankharas in the suttas, which is connected with dependent origination, which is kaya sankhara, vachi sankhara and chitta sankhara, the explanation of this first set is completely different. This first set of sankharas, we find that they have to do with something else. For example, in Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta 44, it is stated, when a monk is attaining the cessation of feeling and perception, first the speech sankhara ceases, then the body sankhara, then the mental sankhara. When a monk is emerging from the attainment of cessation of feeling and perception, first the mental sankhara arises, then the body sankhara, then the speech sankhara. This first set of sankharas, the explanation given is that kaya sankhara, let me see, kaya sankhara refers to breathing. In the Majjhima Nikaya Sutta 44, this Arahant Dhammadina was explaining these three sankharas to the layman Visakha. He said, indeed, friend Visakha, in and out breaths are body sankhara, kaya sankhara. Initial and sustained thoughts, that means vitaka and vichara, are speech sankhara, vachi sankhara. Feeling and perception are chitta sankhara, mental sankhara. Friend Visakha, in and out breaths are bodily. These states are bound up with the body. That is why in breaths and out breaths are called body sankhara. First one applies initial thought and sustained thought, and subsequently one breaks out into speech. That is why initial and sustained thoughts are speech sankhara. Perception and feelings are mental. These states are bound up with the mind. That is why perception and feeling are mental sankhara, chitta sankhara. So here you see, this first set of sankharas that have to do with dependent origination are quite different from the first one, from the second one. Just now I read the second one has to do with general karma, but this one is slightly different. So my interpretation of this sankhara independent origination is that although it may include general karma, but the more important aspect of it is to do with the will to live. Because every living being, we have a great desire to live. This desire to live is so strong that there's nothing more important to any living being in the world. Yeah. For example, if you take another person's wealth away, you take all his wealth, how many billion you take away? At the end of his life, he might still forgive you because he knows when he's dying, he cannot even take 1 cent with him. Yeah, there's nothing he can take with him when he goes off for rebirth. But if you take his life, he will not be happy with that. He'll probably think, even if I come back as a ghost, I will take revenge. Yeah. So life is so important. There is no living being who will exchange his life for anything in the world. Even suppose I want to buy your life, I give you all the wealth in the world. Do you want it? Nobody wants it. So we have a natural tendency to live. This will to live is extremely strong. So I will explain why these sankharas have to do with the will to live. First, the body sankhara. You know, this body sankhara, breathing, in breath and out breath, is programmed into our mind. So because it's been programmed into our mind, this will to live is like this breathing is like automatic. We breathe in and out. We don't notice that we actually intentionally breathe in and out because it's been programmed into our mind. But if I were to stop your breathing, if I were to close your nose and close your mouth, what happens? You will struggle very hard to breathe. Yeah, no? So this breathing, you want the body to live. That's why you want to breathe. As long as you breathe, your bodily, your body will continue to survive. So it's because you want to live. That's why you continue to breathe. So kaya sankhara, your breathing has very much to do with your will to live. If a person does not want to live anymore, then he will be willing to stop breathing. For example, on your deathbed. And then vachi sankhara is said to be thinking, vitaka and vichara, initial thought and sustained thought. This thinking is connected with speech, because before you can break out into speech, you must formulate the ideas in your mind. You must think first. Yeah, you think, then only you can break out into speech. So because we want to live, we want to function through the body, the speech and the mind. Yeah, if you live, you must function through these 3 karmas, actions. So because you want to continue speaking, you want to continue thinking. So when you think, then only you can break out into speech. And then the mental intention, citta sankhara, is perception and feeling. If you have perception and feeling, then consciousness starts to work, because perception and feeling always comes together with consciousness, because perception and feeling is another aspect of consciousness, it's a type of consciousness. So when you have perception and feeling, then your mind works. There is a state called Nirodha Samapatti, where some arahants can attain. And when they attain the state of Nirodha Samapatti, it is called the cessation of perception and feeling. So when they experience cessation of perception and feeling, consciousness also stops. So they go into a state where the 6th consciousness stops. But this can only last for 7 days, after which they must come out of it. So you can see here, because you want to live, you want your 3, your three aspects of life to work. You want your body to survive, you want to continue speaking, you want to continue thinking. That's why these three, kaya, body, intention, verbal intention, and mental intention must work. So that's why I believe that these three sankharas have to do more with the will to live than with general karma. Although you can say that is also connected with the doing of karma. But first you must have the intention to live first. If you don't live, how can you do karma? Yes or not? So the intention to live is more important. Now this sankhara will condition the next link, which is consciousness. So from here, I'll make you see why this sankhara has more to do with the will to live. Because consciousness, a lot of people think that consciousness is a stream of unending consciousness. Most people think because our consciousness seems to be unbroken. Our consciousness seems to be running all the time. But it's not true at all. In the Buddha's teachings, the Buddha says consciousness is dependently arisen. The 6 types of consciousness that we have, eye consciousness, ear consciousness or hearing consciousness, nose consciousness or smelling consciousness, tongue consciousness or tasting consciousness, body consciousness or touch or tactile consciousness, and mental consciousness or thinking consciousness. These 6 consciousness these 6 consciousness are running not in an unending stream, but they arise one after another. So the Buddha says that dependent on the eye and forms outside, seeing consciousness arises. So this seeing consciousness arises and passes away very fast. So our consciousness arises and passes away, arises and passes away. It is arising and passing away so fast that we think it is an unending stream of consciousness, but it is not so. And when consciousness arises and passes away, what is it that makes the next consciousness arise? That's why here I believe it has to do with the will to live. Because of your will to live, because the will to live is so strong, when consciousness ceases, it comes up again, arises again. Just like a flame dies down, and due to some force, it arises again. For example, the wind, when the flame is dying out, and a wind comes, and then it comes back to life again, the flame arises again. So this consciousness arises and passes away because of this will to live. If there were not the will to live, when consciousness ceases, it will not arise again. Will not arise again. So, but in the traditional interpretation of dependent origination, they talk about consciousness ceasing at death. Consciousness ceasing and death and arising again. But I don't think we need to consider consciousness ceasing at death, because every moment our consciousness is ceasing. In other words, we are dying every moment. I believe there's one saint who saw this in his meditation, because his mind has become so, I think it was a Christian saint, it becomes so still that he says he dies every moment, because consciousness ceases every moment. So you can see here, it is the will to live that creates the spark of consciousness. Every time consciousness dies away, it arises again. So now, in the Buddha's teachings, consciousness, whenever consciousness arises or ceases, it must come together with nama rupa. Nama rupa, sometimes people translate it as body and mind, or mind and body. But it is not quite correct. Body and mind in the Buddha's teachings is the 5 khandhas. The 5 khandhas, the body, feeling, perception, volition and consciousness. So the last 4, feeling, perception, volition and consciousness is considered the mental, the mind. But here, nama rupa is not body and mind. Nama rupa and vijnana. Nama rupa you can translate as mentality and materiality. In the suttas, the Buddha says, always arises with consciousness, vijnana. They are like Siamese twins. Siamese twins are joined at the head, joined at the body. You cannot separate them. So in the same way, nama rupa and vijnana, the Buddha says they arise together and they cease together. They must always arise together and cease together. Now consciousness, when consciousness arises, you must be conscious of something. That something that you are conscious of is nama rupa. So in other words, nama rupa is the object of consciousness. Okay. So when the object of consciousness, there are 2 aspects. One is the mental object, is a mental part, and the other one is the material part. Now in the suttas, in the on dependent origination, the Buddha says that nama refers to contact, feeling, perception, consideration and volition. Contact, feeling, perception, consideration and volition. You notice here, out of these 5 things, it does not mention consciousness. So because it is devoid of consciousness, it cannot be mind. But when you combine it with the consciousness, then only there is this mind. And then the 4 great elements is rupa. Rupa is the physical aspect of phenomena, because nama rupa is being the object of consciousness. The English word for it is phenomena. Phenomena is what we are conscious of. So nama rupa is mentality and materiality, the object of consciousness. But if you look carefully into this physical part, the rupa consists of 4 elements, earth, water, fire, wind. Now this earth, water, fire, wind is not really earth, water, fire, wind. Earth refers to the hardness element. Whatever is hard, we refer to it as earth. For example, this wood, this chair is hard. When I touch it, it is hard. So that is the earth element. Earth, fire. Fire is the heat element. All of us have the heat element in us. So we have the fire element in us. We also have the earth element, the hardness aspect of us. Earth, water, fire, earth, water. Water is the cohesion property. The liquids, liquids have the characteristic of cohering things together. For example, I have this physical shape, this body, because of the water element in me. If I were to dehydrate myself, take away all the water from my body, and my body will turn into powder. When my body turns into powder, it will crumble. It will crumble. So it is because of the water element in my body. That's why I have a certain physical shape. Earth, water, fire, wind. Wind is the motion aspect, because there is, I call it wind in my body. So the gases move in my body, the blood moves in my body, the chi moves in my body. That is the wind element. Now, you notice carefully, all these four things, earth, water, fire, wind, they are perceptions, The heartless element is a perception. The form, shape also is a perception. The heat element is also a perception. The wind or motion element is also a perception. In other words, even this physical world is just your perception of it. It is not something out of your perception, out of your mind. In other words, even the mental and the physical part of the world, everything is mind-made. So, for example, if your karma is so bad that you see yourself in hell and you are burned by the fires of hell, you'll be crying. But suppose one day I become an arahant and I come and visit you in hell. My mind is different from yours. So I go down to hell. I don't perceive the heat like you do. I don't suffer like you do. Yeah, because my mind has a different perception from your mind. So that's why mind is extremely important. Your mind determines your world. Your mind determines your perception. A pure mind is a happy mind. An impure mind, a disturbed mind, is a mind full of suffering. That's why in the Buddha's teachings, mind is extremely important because your mind creates your world. So once you have this consciousness and mentality, materiality, that brings you to the next link, which is the sixth sense basis, salayatana. Because your consciousness must function through the six sense organs, through the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. So these are the six internal sense bases. And the six external sense bases are the objects of these six internal sense bases, namely forms for the eye to see, sounds for the ear to hear, odors for the nose to smell, touch for the body to feel, and thoughts for the mind to think. This six sense bases come to existence when you have consciousness and mentality and materiality. They all come together, the six sense bases. So once you have the six sense bases and you have the internal sense bases and the external sense objects, then it brings you to the next link, which is contact. When the six sense objects impinge on your six sense organs, you have contact. For example, form comes before your eyes and you pay attention, then there is contact, and eye consciousness arises, and you say you see. So similarly, when a sound comes to your ear, you have a good ear, and there is contact, and you pay attention, then you hear. So it is contact that of these six sense objects impinging on your six sense bases. So once you have contact, then the next link is feeling arises. Once you have contact of the six sense basis, then feeling is the first thing to arise. So feeling arising, there are three types, basically three types of feeling at your six sense doors. And these three are pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and neutral feeling. For example, if you see a beautiful form, you have a pleasant feeling arising. If you see an ugly, frightening form, then unpleasant feeling arises. And then if it's neither attractive nor unattractive, then neutral feeling arises. So this feeling arising If it is pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling, you are moved by it. If it is neutral feeling, sometimes you don't even observe it. You tend to not to notice it. But if it is pleasant or unpleasant feeling arising, you notice it very clearly. So when a pleasant feeling arises, we tend to enjoy it. Once you enjoy it, you want to enjoy it again. So what happens? Craving arises. There is craving for it. For example, when we were young, we never tasted ice cream, and our parents gave us ice cream to eat. After tasting ice cream, this child liked that flavor, and then he craves for it. He wants some more. So craving arises when there is pleasant feeling. So when there is craving, then because of craving for it, you attach to it. You want to grasp it. You want to cling to it. So this is the natural consequence of craving for something. So this craving is generally craving for the six sense objects, or beautiful forms, for nice sounds, for fragrant odors, for pleasant taste, for nice touch, and for nice thoughts. So craving gives rise to attachment, and attachment upadana gives rise to bhava. This bhava is the second link, independent origination. Is very hard to understand. For many years I could not understand it really. So this bhava is said to be existence or being. How is it that attachment gives rise to being or existence? This existence or being is explained in the suttas as being in the sensual desire realm or desire realm existence, form realm existence, and formless realm existence. Every world system, the Buddha says, can be divided into three realms. The lowest is the sensual desire realm, where sensual desire or sensual lust dominates all beings. So because of sensual desire, you have male and female. And then if you cultivate jhana, a person having attained jhana can be reborn in the form realm. This form realm consists of very high heavens. The lowest is the first jhana plane, where the Brahma, Devas live. And then the second jhana heavens, then the third jhana and the fourth jhana heavens. And these beings, they abide in happiness and bliss because of the state of their mind. And because the state of the mind is in the state of jhana, they don't need to enjoy sensual desire. They enjoy a different type of bliss. So because they don't need to enjoy sensual desire, they have no sensual desire, so there is no male and female beings there. Everyone is unisex. And their bodies consist of pure light. They are like brighter than the sun. Even the lowest, the first jhana heavens, the Brahma, Devas, their brightness exceeds the sun much, much more. In the suttas, the Buddha says the very lowest of them, their light can shine to 1,000 world systems, 1,000 worlds. In others, 1,000 stars, their light can go to. And the highest of them, their light can pervade 100,000 stars. So far away, their light so powerful. So these are the three realms in the bhava. When you talk about bhava, this existence, you refer to these three types of existence or three types of beings. So now, how is it that clinging or attachment gives rise to being. It is like that. It is like this. When we crave for something and we cling to something, that I arises, that self arises. I want this, I must have this, I cannot live without this. So that I arises when you enjoy something. When you enjoy something, you feel I am enjoying it. This perception, I exist, I am, arises when you have craving and clinging or attachment. So this bhava is this perception that I exist and I am. So once this self comes into being, this being arises. This being arises. That's why this being comes into existence. Once this being comes into existence, then it perceives that it is born into the world. So bhava conditions birth. So once you have a self, then you see that you are born into the world. It's not just like a plant. A plant also has consciousness, but because a plant, a tree does not have the perception I exist or I am. When a tree grows up, it does not perceive, the tree does not perceive that I am born into the world. But because we have an I, a self, we perceive birth, we perceive the birth of this physical body. You are born into the human body, or you are born into a deva body, or you are born into a ghost body. So this, because of this clinging, that I arises and you see yourself born into the world. So bhava, existence or being, conditions birth. And once you have birth into the world, then the natural consequence is aging, sickening and dying. And all the mass of suffering arises because you are born into this world. So that is the explanation of the 12 links of dependent origination. So you find many books talk about dependent origination, but the two hardest links to understand, to get it correct, is sankhara, volition or intention, and bhava, existence or being. So you can see here that it is because of craving and clinging that I strengthens itself. So that is why you can see the holy path, why a person to walk the holy path and get out of samsara, he must cut off sensual enjoyment. He must give up sensual pleasures in the world. He must renounce sensual pleasures in the world. Because as long as you enjoy sensual pleasures in the world, it fortifies, it strengthens that perception, I exist, I am. So when you give up that craving and that clinging, then slowly that I am or I exist starts to weaken. So that is why renunciation is important. And also the fact that where does craving and clinging come from? Comes from feeling, pleasant feeling. When you have pleasant feeling, then that craving arises. So you give up pleasant feeling. But in this world, everybody is chasing after pleasant feeling, isn't it? If you know how to market something that gives people pleasant feeling, you will sell. If you market something that does not give people pleasant feeling, nobody wants to buy. Yeah. So you provide good shows for people to see, people enjoy, people want. You provide good music, rock band and all that, people want. You want good. You provide good taste, nice taste. People want to eat, especially Chinese, very fond of good taste. So from here you can see. So when we understand the Dhamma, we understand the Four Noble Truths, then we know that ultimately this world is not satisfactory. However much we enjoy, we can never be contented lah. We cannot satisfy our sensual desires lah. It's never enough lah. You satisfy your sensual desires for a short while lah, and then tomorrow you want it again. Our stomach is like an endless pit. You fill yourself with good food. After several hours, you're hungry again. Need to eat again. You enjoy your sensual desires, and then you tire yourself out. After that, when your energy comes back, the sensual desires come back again. So life for most people is just trying to satisfy our sensual desires. So because we want to satisfy our sensual desires, we struggle to make more money. You make more money, then you have more power to spend. You have more spending power. You have more things to enjoy. So we chase after all these sensual desires in the world, but ultimately we are never satisfied. When you are young, you want a good education. After you get a good education, you want to have a good job. After you have a good job, you want to have a good spouse. After you have a good spouse, you want beautiful and cute children. After you have cute children, when they grow up, you want to have grandchildren. You want to make your million, or if possible, your billion. If you make your billion at the end of about 70 years, your life, your shelf life has expired. So when your shelf life expires at the end of 70 over years, and you are coming to the end of life, and suddenly when you realize that you have cancer or you are about to die, then you are confused. What is life all about? All the things I wanted in the world, I got. But now I can't cling on to them. I must go. I must leave every single one. I must leave every part of my property. I cannot even bring 1 cent with me. So you are confused. Or you should have, then you start asking questions. But it's too late. You should have asked all these questions about life when you were younger, when you had the strength to practice a spiritual path. So if you start asking and you find out the answers and you understand the Four Noble Truths, then because of that, you slowly you let go. Slowly you let go. And then letting go, you can only do if you understand the Dhamma, from listening to the Dhamma, from studying the Buddha's words, and meditating. If you don't meditate to strengthen your mind, there are a lot of things we know we should do. There are a lot of things we know we should not do, but we are unable to do what we should do. We are unable to stop doing what we should not do. Why? Like the English saying goes, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. A lot of us, we have illicit relations. A lot of lay people have illicit relations, commit adultery. It's not that they don't know that it's wrong. They know, but the flesh is weak. A lot of things we know that we should do, but we can't find the time to do because we don't see that it is important enough. We have a lot of desires in the world. There are so many things we want to achieve in this world. But life is limited. Our energy is limited. Our time is limited. So you have to see what is your priority. You must have the foresight to see how many years you have left in life. If you go by statistics, at the age of 70-something, you are going to pass away. You have to face up to that fact. See how many more years you have. And make the best use of it according to your priority. So I will stop here.